This was a really stupid conversation, because once again, the power of common sense. I'd probably need to do a video on that for the more intelligent people among us. This is about how when you accept that life is suffering, and to an emotionally stunted person, life is suffering because of how they think. Not because the world's an awful place, but because they're horrible people. It is the other way around. They cause the misery. They're self-immiserating retards. You don't have to respect them, and if we lived in a functional society, smashing them in the head with a rock would be the best option. So, when you accept life is suffering, you are a nihilist. Okay? Nihilism is a philosophy perspective that rejects the existence of object, meaning, truth, or value. Remember, these people don't have values. Suggesting that life is ultimately meaningless. You're here to suffer. That's it. Nothing else. You're a nihilist. Okay? So, when I say that Nietzsche is doublespeak nihilism, I mean it because he's doublespeak nihilism. He's just doublespeak nihilism for anybody dumb enough to believe him. Okay, and if you know anything about the US government, there's actual laws against nihilism. So maybe we need to have actual laws against Nietzsche. So this stupidity, when I was at Papa John's, this would probably be not too long after they got me to sign the perjury by blackmailing me with the video of the baby and bribing and the poisoning with the heavy metals, making me retarded and just doing all the wrong things to get what they want. Because at this church, the only value is as long as you get what you want. You beat, rape, murder, kill, destroy, hurt as many people as you can. As long as you get what you want, it doesn't matter. Alright? And then the church is going to make sure there's zero accountability. And if you hold them to account, they kill you. That's what happens, because somehow that makes fucking sense. Anywho, so one of the guys, I'm just gonna call this idiot Kevin. I called him a Cenobite, and if you know what Cenobites are, they're from Hellraiser, and they just love human suffering. And emotionally stunted people love human suffering. That's what spite brain is, causing human misery. So, Kevin, this guy named, I'm calling Kevin, he is not Kevin, came into the back of Papa John's, tells me life is suffering, and that's what I don't understand. And I said, good, go back to prison if that's true. And he went, no, we're gonna cause you suffering. And I was like, then you're a Cenobite. And he was like, I'm not a Cenobite. And then he came back and was like, you're the Cenobite because you want to put me in prison. And I was like, did you kill people and rape babies? And he was like, yes. And I was like, you're a bad person. Bad people kill. These people don't have values because they're nihilists. Okay? They are nihilists, and they use doublespeak to get you to believe in nihilism. And he was like, no, you're the Cenobite because you want to hurt me. Victim. This is an emotionally stunted ploy, and I just rolled my eyes. No, crime and correction is what I believe in, but in America you have what's called crime and punishment, where for some reason you just put somebody in a box to be tortured for 45 years or life or whatever. And he starts explaining to me that I'm the bad person because I wanted justice. And I wanted justice to the point that I wanted to stop them from eating the Memphis brains. I wanted to stop them from human trafficking. I wanted to make them do all the good things. And that's evil, because I had no business trying to save people. And then I was like, what's your definition of a hero? And he goes, I'm a hero. And I was like, you're a hero that eats women's brains, rape babies, and murders people? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, which hero can you name in Marvel or DC Comics that does that? And I remember this stare, and he was like, you're the Cenobite that loves human. I was not a vengeful prick, but, like, I've been thinking about it, and These people did definitively prove to me there is no reason in being a good person outside of maybe the chance of getting into heaven. And I don't even believe in heaven, brother. I'll tell you what, I don't even know why I do the right thing. I think I might be retarded. I'm going to argue that my autism is I do the right thing, okay? This imbecile then goes, okay, raping babies. He explains to me, him and another guy, we'll call the other guy David. David comes back there and starts explaining to me they're not hurting the babies by raping them. It causes them to be emotionally stunted. You are fucking them up. Literally fucking them up. And they start projecting onto me that I'm the evil one, and that I do all the evil things, and they're the sweet, sweet, innocent babies that just do bad things but are still good, and they're good no matter... When you believe you're good and you do bad stuff, you're evil. Okay, that's how that works. But these guys don't have the ability to discern right from wrong. As Kevin later explained to me about raping women and how rape doesn't exist because it's just sex, to which I was like, have you ever been raped before, Kevin? Which... I think these guys have all been raped, but they're told it's not rape. They're fucked up, dude. They're completely fucked up, and you really shouldn't associate with these people. But they started accusing me of being a Cenobite, and I looked them dead in the face, and I was like, I'm not the guy that came back here and said life is suffering. And they both froze, and they're like, well, we're gonna cause you suffering. Yes, these people cause me suffering. They murder every woman I like. They keep every dollar that is rightfully mine out of my hands, and they go, that's how that is! And this is somehow legal under the American justice system. Yeah. Anyways, these women raping, baby raping pedophiles who are emotionally stunted and can't connect with people start fighting with me as hard as they can, trying to convince me that even though they deliberately cause suffering, and they cause as much suffering, and they love it, they love the suffering, they can't get enough, it's delicious, keep hurting them! And dude, I was in the back with my fucked up cadmium heavy metal brain, confused about what the fuck was going on with these retards. Because they were both explaining to me that they love suffering, but they're not Cenobites. No, the suffering is glorious, and it gives, as they sound like Cenobites from Hellraiser. That's not a joke. They literally, as they were talking to me, begin to start talking like Cenobites from Hellraiser. They're like, the glorious human suffering, it's needed for the church, because when you immiserate people deliberately, they join the church, and then the church can perpetuate the cycle of human suffering. Oh, and keep in mind, these guys are rich and they don't actually have real problems. Yeah. I think it's easy to be all about human suffering when you know it's not your ass going on the bed to be tortured. And if this church was any type of actual, real, decent thing, torturing your church leader would be a thing. You would just have Torture Tuesdays where you went in and beat and raped your church leader. Just to demonstrate that they're all about their suffering, but I guarantee you, they're not. This was a really funny event because I'm actually a really nice guy when you know me. I like laughing and having fun, talking like Ed and making jokes. Sometimes I go on long, boring rants about the geological and political natures of America and how everything is fucked. And nowadays I go on rants about how it's fucked because churches exist and we need to rip up the First Amendment because that's the only way to deal with it, is we need to move toward a rational nation void of these retards. And they should be considered retards. When you're talking to a religious person, you should go, oh, he's retarded, he can't live in reality. Or she's retarded, they can't live in reality. And they should be shunned and driven out and forced into tiny corners of the world. Third world countries where they belong, where suffering is inherent. Okay, and they don't have to synthetically create it. And these people synthetically create human suffering. That is a real thing, and they do it deliberately. They do it through taking 10% of your wealth. They do it through stealing all of your money through bullshit contracts, and it's just pain for pain's sake, and they're just gonna keep hurting you. And they're not gonna stop because they jack off to it. Because, say it with me, lead brains. It knocks you out of your emotions and your inhibitions, so you crave sensation. What do these assholes want? Sensation. What's the only sensation they can feel? Human suffering. The same kind of affection we get from a hug or a kiss, they get from human suffering. They cannot go through life and not cause suffering. So why the fuck do we let these institutions exist? That is beyond me. Yeah. This one's kind of lighthearted because I literally 3 or 4 days of these guys coming in talking about Nietzsche and then telling me about suffering. But every time I put him on the spot and I was just like, I remember I had a fork and I just handed it to one of them. I was like, stab yourself in the eye. No, that would be painful, but it's suffering. Delicious human suffering. And I remember the David guy started fucking off because he was such a smug prick, but he started fucking off in mid-conversation about it, because he didn't like how fast the shit was going south and how fast I just told him to hurt himself, and he refused. But he was all about hurting other people and more than willing to hurt church members, but he don't want that for him. Blondie at one point, I remember him coming in, and he apparently had worked things out with his brother, who's this tall, trefoil tree looking motherfucker. Dude, they're all pieces of shit. Okay, they're all pieces of shit. They have no business living in this world. This tall, trefoil tree looking motherfucker comes in, and basically they're gonna do the ultimate convince Bobby he's the evil one for reporting the church. And then they expressed to me that because I reported them for pedophilia, murder, and doing all the evil things like rape and killing, and they went to prison, and they had a bad experience in prison, which the reason why the prison system is set up the way it is because these people want it that way, because they never intended for themselves to end up in prison. An effective prison would be a correctional facility, not a box you put people to go rot forever. These stupid assholes start explaining to me simply by using the US government and putting them in prison, I was the Cenobite that was forcing his values of human suffering onto them. And they are the victims through that nature. So I was like, so you're arguing the fact that there's a justice system and you don't agree with it, and you don't, I was like, so what do you guys think is bad? What do you think is evil? And then they just pointed at me. And I was like, okay, what about me do you think is evil? Because all I do is work at Papa John's, give out hugs, tell jokes, and is genuinely a likable person. What do you think? And the fact that you reported us. And I was like, did you or did you not? And then Blondie snapped. He said, we did, okay, we killed people, we raped babies, we raped women, we just don't think we need to be in jail for it. And I was, okay, Blondie, thank you. And he's like, you're the evil one, because you make me feel bad, emotionally stunted. It's about how they feel. And that was the end of the nihilists, because they are nihilists. They believe it. You're only here to suffer, that's it. And the Ubermensch understands it's okay to cause suffering because you're here to suffer. There you go.